Guys, let's see who is on the line for tonight's roundtable. Let's pick up first the great David Stanoch. Dave, Joe Gansas around a kid. What's up, brother?
The great Joe Gansas. That's what's up, man. How are you, pal?
That's like a new TV show this Thursday night. The great Joe Gansas.
Yeah, you like the sound of that? I like the sound of that too, man. You wear it. You wear it well. How you been?
What's up, brother? I am good. I am so busy, man. But I think busy is good, David, in the world. I would hate to have a life where I'm around all day and I talk like this.
Yeah. No. You've got much more to give to your family and the world than that. For sure. Absolutely.
How you been?
Great to be back.
How's everything going?
I'm good. I'm good. Everything, it's all good. Busy. Just working on the fall semester out at McAllen College of Music and getting ready for PASIC in about 2 weeks, and then I've got a holiday tour that I'll be playing. So there's a lot going on.
Great. Let's bring in the other participant in tonight's roundtable. He's part of the show and a great drugger. A great drummer. Oh, I'm too pumped up tonight. I'm too pumped up for these guests, so I apologize. A great drummer, the great Doug Meola. Doug, you're talking to Joe Gansas, the great Joe Gansas, and David Stanoch. What's up, brother?
Hello, Joe the Great. Dave, what's up? How are you doing?
Hi, Doug. Nice to speak to you, man. How are you?
Yeah, it's great to put a voice to the name here.
Exactly.
Yeah, great to meet you.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice
We
to
got
meet
some.
you too, of course. Yeah.
Usually I have a part of the show, Benny Sabone, but he's at a wedding this week, so he's not going to be calling in. So I can't thank you guys enough, Doug Meola and David Stanoch, once again, two great drummers. And, I love being around great drumming minds, and right here I have two of them. I think different in some aspects and maybe not, but guys that I respect very much, so thank you very much, guys.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, definitely.
Guys, tonight's roundtable discussion, I had it right here. I just and before David's like, "Oh, you don't want to tell me, or you didn't know what's going on yet."
Joe's keeping everybody in secret here.
Yeah, that's right, man. He's going to spring something on us here.
Drop the bomb on us here.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I've talked about it on the show and Drumming Table. We all have our favorites. We all have drummers we look up to, and it's a great thing. To me, I always talk about it, and he almost joined us tonight. He was busy. My guy, my favorite drummer is Simon Phillips, and I talked to Dave about that on the show, David Stanoch. He knows that, and so does Doug. But if I had to pick one guy that's special to me, it's Scott Rockenfield from Queensryche, and he almost joins us tonight. He's become a friend of mine, and I think to have people like that in your life is important. I know Doug. Doug's a big Bonham guy. I know Dave has some guests here, Maya, and I think that's so healthy for us to have the drummers we look up to and sort of try to emulate, but not. But it's a great thing. So tonight's question is this, guys: do you enjoy studying and learning from these other drummers? And if so, how does it complement your playing, David Stanoch?
Well, there's no question. I've been fortunate enough to grow up in an age where when I was a kid and I was just getting into playing, it was still easy to go see people like Buddy Rich and Max Roach and Elvin Jones and Tony Williams and Art Blakey. And, it's not hard to I won't run out of names. Philly Joe Jones, Louis Bellson, Ed Shaughnessy, Bonham, Keith Moon. I saw Keith. All of these people thrilled and excited me. And so, you listen to the records. In those days, man, it was always exciting to see them on TV. You could see Buddy Rich on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. You could see, the other guys on things like Midnight Special or Rock Concert. And then they'd come to town, and, it was all Danny Serafin. I got to throw him into that mix. He was a big favorite of mine, too, and the drummers from Earth, Wind & Fire, at that time, Ralph Johnson and Fred White Jr., and everybody. I mean, there were so many people. Bill Bruford, God, I'm not going to run out of names. Sposio. But anyway, it's not just about the names. To answer your question, I think that, I mean, yeah, it's infectious. I mean, these people are so highly talented and skilled and unique, and they've all got something different, and to be able to be in a room with Buddy Rich, and see the way he would light up a room and could move the air in real time and capture your attention. I mean, I would get home from those shows late at night, and I wouldn't want to go to bed. I'd want to go downstairs to my drums and jam, and you wear out the records playing stuff over and over, And then, of course, I've had the good fortune of being able to study one-on-one with some of the very best drummers in the world, like, my teacher Elliot Fine and Max Roach and Jeff Hamilton and Alan Dawson. And, I mean, good Lord, I should really be a much better drummer than I am, considering the access I've had and the opportunity. But it's just it's a labor of love that way. I mean, it always feels good to get inspired and get new ideas, and it never ends. I mean, I mentioned a lot of the people that I grew up admiring, and there's a whole new generation today I see in my students, and they have all their heroes, and there's just some marvelous, amazing drummers out there, and it's always cool to see what's happening different, the approach of somebody like Chris Dave or some of the other contemporary drummers that are doing, just beautiful, interesting things and changing the music, which always has to happen. So, yeah, That's my take on it.
David Stanoch, we're talking to the great Dave Stanoch. He joined us tonight with the roundtable. Dave, if you had, if you could just put your finger on one drummer who you think, is really your style. You mentioned Soderham, some of the best ever. If there's one guy that you really taken to or try to emulate, is there somebody?
It's, that's a really hard thing to narrow down, Joe, just because of my eclectic taste, and also the fact that, I mean, like, for instance, I played with Ed Shaughnessy when I was in high school, and then I ended up subbing with Doc's big band for him, in the years just prior to Ed's passing. And so you take a guy who I'd always admired playing, watched him, while I was growing up, and then to know that I was going to be covering Doc's gig for him, you really have to get inside that style. When I was in college, I got to sit, and I watched Clyde Stubblefield probably play, a couple hundred gigs, and then now in more recent times we've played together, and Clyde Stubblefield's got a style that's just, it's legendary, and so to be able to study that and cop some of that, and feel it, play along with him and feel it, those kind of things. I mean, it's all tremendous. It's just hard to pick one, because as soon as I pick one, I think of another one,
Yeah, I get it. Cool.
Yeah.
Great stuff, brother. Guys, we're joined right now by Doug Meola on around the table, around. See what I'm doing, guys? I'm so pumped up. I wanted to say around the kit. I said around the table. I gotta relax, man. Oh, guys, we are live.
They didn't give you any decaf today, did they?
No.
They gave you full bore coffee and.
Oh, man. 646-787-8027 on Around the Kid with the great Joe Gansas. We are now up to the roundtable discussion. Doug, I know you're a big Doug. Who is Doug? Oh, I'm losing my mind here. Holy shit. Wait, all right, I'm sorry. Doug, did I just say who's Doug? Oh, my God. Doug Meola. I know you're a big Bonham guy. I'll be quiet. Just talk.
Well, I echo much of what David just said. What Dave just said. I mean, it's you're in such awe of these great drummers that we were introduced to and learned from throughout our careers. And then I think it's one of those things which an appreciation, and then you feel a connection to something, right? So like my hardest thing as a drummer is like I'll go and I'll hear I'll see Terry Bozzio play, and I'll be like, oh man, I got to do that. And then I'll see Steve Jordan play, and I'm like, oh, those grooves, like, So it's like. It's hard because I think if you really love drums and you're open to learning and evolving as a drummer, you never stop desiring that ability, right? So it's like I don't want to sound like, Terry Bozzio. I don't want to sound like Bonham. I want to be me, but I think when Dave was talking, I was thinking about it, and I think in our formative years, when we're first starting to actually play songs and really become drummers beyond, just playing out of books, I think we're really developing our footprint of who we're going to be as drummers by what we take in. So at that time in my life, I was listening to lots of hard rock. Bonham was like my main inspiration at the time, and I think that kind of settles in, and you start to kind of absorb that. But I think what it really comes down to, I sit here and I analyze Buddy Rich videos, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that fill, that left hand, how, why, and so I think what my take is on it is that you kind of have your thing, right? Whether you're a jazz drummer or a rock drummer, you have your footing from your past, and that's always going to be you. You can't get away from that. You've developed that over years and years of just playing and playing. And then as we evolve and we learn, we try to take those things and add to the foundation and go in new directions. When I first heard JoJo Mayer, I was like, what? But again, it's an amalgamation of a lot of different things. So I think what I try to do is just appreciate and absorb all that I can, and what I really personally connect to, I think sprinkles into my playing. But I think what Dave said about Buddy Rich, being in a room and just the presence, I think that's what really makes us who we are, is like our personality, our presence when we perform live or when we record. That's what comes out. It's not even the notes that we play. It's the vibe that we give off, right? And I mean, thousands of drummers could play a Steve Jordan groove, but when you hear Steve Jordan play it, that's it,
Right.
So I think it's really coming from deeper within who we are as drummers and how we're feeling it. And we can mimic a lot of things by learning something perfectly, but what really is who you are as a drummer is your own personality and your vibe coming out. Mm-hmm. So I think your inspirations are definitely going to come out. I was discussing this with a couple people on Facebook. I posted a solo of John Bonham playing Moby Dick at Earl's Court, and you can really hear like the Buddy Rich, the Gene Krupa, the Elvin Jones. You could hear his influences in the what he was playing, and it was amazing to me that he created a style that was all his own, but you could still hear, oh, there's Buddy Rich right there in that drum fill. Oh, there's Elvin Jones. So I think all of us are going to have some of that coming out, whether we want it to or not.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Just go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just going to say, just all very well said, Doug. I loved hearing all that. Just great perspective.
Well, thanks.
Great.
Yeah, because I'm like a big fan like you. You go see these people and you're just like, oh, I want to go home and play. I don't want to go now. And it's like, It's inspiring. I think when you have the passion like we do and you love it, you're just moved by it. You're impressed and inspired. And I think that's when drummers start to get to a point where they don't appreciate those things, even if it may not be their style, that's when it starts to get strange, because it's like we should always continue to have that excitement and passion,
Absolutely. Well, and you keep your mind open, and you're going to get exposed to things that you maybe never even considered or were aware of. And man, it's amazing how that can turn people around. It's like you can be. I love the music I grew up on, and I'm into stuff that just by being able to be a drummer and a citizen of the world, and to have that kind of perspective, it's just amazing. Some of the stuff that's out there, it's humbling.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And I think what also helps us, as in our constant, how we evolve and how we continue to, as instructors and educators and drummers, playing with other musicians, seeing great drummers, just being humble. Like I had seen a clinic one time with Terry Bozzio, and he was trying to break down a pattern and play it slowly. And he tried like 6 times, and he was laughing. He's like, I can't play this slow. And he was like, I'm embarrassed. But he's like, my body and my brain are so used to playing this a certain way that I have to relearn it. And Dave Weckl, the same thing. He was showing some thing at a clinic. He was demonstrating something, and he's like, I haven't practiced that for a long time. I don't know if I can play it. And it's just so funny to me because you're like, you're Dave Weckl. You know, like, I don't think anybody's right now judging if you can play that or not, you know, but that gives it a whole different sense of, like, greatness because, you know, if somebody's saying, hey, you know, I don't really think, you know, I'm just a drummer trying to be great. I don't really see myself the way you do. That's inspiring, too, you know, just seeing people being human. That we regard as such great players, you know, that also I think makes a big difference in, at least for me, shaping me as a drummer, you know.
I wholeheartedly agree, you know, and that's why, like, you know, some of these things, like with PASIC coming up, you know, when you get the opportunity to go, like, hear different people play and just mingle with them and talk just like we're talking, you know what I mean? It's amazing. Yep. Truly, how humble, you know, some of the you have eye to eye access to the greatest drummers in the world, and you know they're just trying to sound better today than they did yesterday themselves. You know, everybody's kind of coming from the same place, and that's inspiring too. Yeah, because I don't like the contest thing. Max Roach gave me great advice one time. He said, Dave, you're only in competition with yourself, and I thought, yeah, that's it. You know, that's a good thing to remember.
Just great.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Great stuff, guys. Dave, what do you got coming up in your life? Any gigs or anything?
Yeah, I'm musical director for a great singer here out in the Midwest named Sean Johnson. He's an Emmy winner, and he's got a whole other kind of career with a vocal group he's part of called Tonic Solfa. He has a contemporary pop big band, and we're doing our 6th annual holiday tour. Kicking off in November and then running through December. And between now and then, I'm just here working at the college, and I'm going to go to PASIC in early November, and I'm excited to see that. I'm on the drum set committee for PASIC, so I'm part of the kind of helps, you know, bring people in and determine who we can present that year. And we've got JoJo's on the bill with us this year, along with a lot of other great drummers like Mike Clark and Joe Snickel and Brian Carter and Fidel Morales and Mark Isiani, and it's going to be great. Great
stuff. I can't thank you enough, brother, for coming on the show. Guys, check out all that David Stanoch does, and also Doug Meola. Doug and Dave, thank you guys so much. It's my pleasure. You make the show better.
No, it's my pleasure, Joe. And Doug, great to meet you, Doug. We'll talk.
Yeah, we'll have
soon.
to catch up offline too, Dave. And you know, if there's anything I can do for you anytime, you know, shoot me a message. But we'll definitely have to stay in touch and catch up. It was great to meet you.
Yeah, and likewise. And Joe, thanks as always, man. You got the best thing going here. It's just a pleasure.
All right, guys, have a great night. Thanks so much. I'll put you on hold. You guys would do what you want to do.
Thanks,
all right,
Joe.
See you.
Take care, Dave.
Yep.
See you later.
Bye. Great stuff. David Stanoch and Doug Meola. Great minds. Tremendous, and I can't thank them enough. Guys, speaking of Doug